Goosebumps Episode 6 begins with Mr. Brat narrating the history leading up to the current incidents. He starts by telling the story of 1925 and his great-grandfather, Ephraim, a struggling stage performer. Ephraim, dissatisfied with his magic show's lack of success, visits a magic store in search of new tricks but lacks the funds. As he's about to leave, he hears a whisper calling out to him and decides to purchase a mysterious suitcase. Returning home, his wife expresses disappointment upon seeing the doll inside. After she departs, Ephraim discovers a note with cryptic instructions. The next day, he incorporates the ventriloquist doll into his performance, but the audience boos him. Suddenly, Slappy comes to life and starts roasting him, much to the audience's amusement. This unexpected turn of events catapults Ephraim's career. He becomes consumed by his success, neglecting his family. In 1960, Ephraim's audience begins to dwindle, prompting the manager to suggest adding a new opening act. While alone with Slappy, the doll suggests that the manager is conspiring against Ephraim. Slappy manipulates him into using a spell, turning the manager into a puppet. Slappy then instructs Ephraim to purchase a coffin and recite a spell. However, halfway through, Ephraim witnesses a terrifying vision and abandons the ritual. He hides Slappy back in the suitcase and moves to a new house for a life of isolation. In his old age, he seals the suitcase within a wall, ensuring it remains hidden. Years later, Ephraim's granddaughter, Georgia Biddle, along with her husband and son Harold, move into the house. Harold's father convinces him that the new school will be better, promising him the basement as his own space. The next day, he reassures Harold that he won't face bullies like in his previous school, gifting him a camera and suggesting he join the photo club. On his first day at school, Harold joins the photo club and befriends Nora and Sarah. He grows particularly close to Sarah, who shows interest in his camera. Days later, Harold and Sarah develop photos in the darkroom, leading to a meaningful conversation. She persuades him to accompany her to Ben's party. Harold prepares for the party, but the following morning he tells his dad he doesn't want to talk about it, convinced Sarah doesn't feel the same. In frustration, he throws something at the wall and stumbles upon the suitcase. Introducing Slappy to his parents, Harold goes to school with him for a semester project against his parents' wishes. During the presentations, Eliza and Victoria are dismissed for inappropriate language. Harold begins his act but fails to captivate the audience. Suddenly, Slappy comes to life, humorously roasting the students and Harold. Despite Harold's protests, the audience believes it's all part of the act, leaving him pleased by the applause. Later, Harold shares a funny story with the girls, sensing that Sarah might be interested in him. That evening, Nora witnesses Slappy talking to Harold and rushes to tell Sarah. Terrified, Nora recounts what she saw, but Sarah dismisses it as a misunderstanding. The next morning, Harold's parents confront him about talking to the doll and forbid him from taking it to school. His father takes the suitcase, leading to a heated argument. While Harold is at school, his parents attempt to burn the doll, only to find it resistant to the flames. When Harold returns, he's furious with his parents. Slappy persuades him to use the spell, transforming them into puppets. Ignoring the accusations, the kids in the story accuse Harold of being the murderer, but Mr. Brat scolds them and continues with the tale. In the story's continuation, Harold faces another performance in front of the students and teacher. Slappy reveals secrets about the students, humiliating them in front of the class. The teacher, outraged, removes Harold from the stage. After the act, Sarah and the others confront Harold, but he pushes them away and leaves. They conclude that the doll is the source of the problem and devise a plan to steal it from Harold. The following night, they visit Harold's house, and Ben seizes the doll. Slappy retaliates, causing chaos in the house. Ben quickly shuts the suitcase, and as Harold enters the basement, he closes the door. They try to get Harold to come out, but he panics and accidentally drops a candle, setting the carpet ablaze. Seeing the smoke, the kids retreat and flee outside. They decide not to report the incident and leave. Slappy attempts to escape the suitcase, but Ben dismantles it. They opt to bury it in Eliza's dad's mine, ensuring it remains hidden. Returning to the present, the kids draw the conclusion that their parents were trying to protect Harold from Slappy. Mr. Brad is shocked to hear this and berates them, asserting that their parents are bullies. He insists that Slappy was Harold's best friend. When questioned about how he knows all this, he reveals that he is Harold and transforms himself into a burnt mummy at the end of Goosebumps Episode 6. The episode review Episode 6 of Goosebumps delves into the history of Slappy the puppet, giving us more perspective on Harold's life and the opening scene of Episode 1. The episode also reveals a lot about the entire storyline. Slappy, who is generally seen as a harmless kids' movie villain, takes on a darker twist, exhibiting a very vicious and sly nature. His abilities, however, do not possess a magical effect, as Ephraim defied Slappy's will and locked him up for good. Nevertheless, Slappy exerts a strong influence over Harold's actions, and there are multiple reasons to attribute this. The episode clarifies the identity of the antagonist, providing the kids with more knowledge to determine their course of action.